Hey guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing okay and you're ready for this. We're only hitting two courtrooms today, but don't worry, it's enough. it's it's just enough. I mean, I don't have liars that top my last liar video because actually my last three had a lot of lying going on. But let's just keep with that theme. Lying is not tolerated today. But first, let's go down to Florida. Before we get into this clip, I got to tell you the place where I get it. There's this part in there that it wouldn't play. It's just a few seconds long that we miss. So I'll tell you when it happens. You'll see.
Good morning, Your Honor. May it please the court. How you doing? Or good afternoon, rather.
I'm doing well, Mr. Thompson. So I do see that you represent Mr. Moore on two cases that he is currently out on bond for.
Yes, Your Honor.
2023 CF 749280. That looks like that's in Division 15 with Judge Weiss. Actually, both cases are.
Yes, Your Honor.
That one, an information was filed back on November 3rd. For possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. It is set for trial in February. Then it looks like you picked up another case on January 10th, 2024, CF 44180. That one he has the public defender on unless you filed an appearance.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe we filed an appearance that morning. If not, we definitely get it filed today. It's not a problem.
Okay. And then Mr. Moore, is it your intent to hire Mr. Thompson on this case as well, this new law violation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have 2024 CF 65080. I did review the charging affidavit. I do find that there's probable cause. Mr. Thompson, he's got three charges back to back for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
Your Honor, may I be heard, please? And I hate to sound like this and say this, but Your Honor, I believe my client is one of those individuals that is being targeted by law enforcement. The reason being, he's a business owner. As you can see, he may be an unconventional business owner. He has goes in his mouth with diamonds in them. He deposits about 20 grand a month, sometimes a week, in the bank, and he is known to carry cash on him. Law enforcement has been aggressively pulling him over in any rental car that he owns a rental car company and a trucking company, and as well as the Bill Homes. This is just the cases where he's been arrested. I've been called FaceTime several times when he's been stopped for frivolous traffic stops, Your Honor. He's let go. So I'll move forward, just talk about the PC in this case. I understand the state has found PC. I see some things that concern me, and I also have someone who was actually in the vehicle with him last night who told law enforcement it was her vehicle. This is the mother of his children who were in the car, who was actually driving the car. As you can see in the police report, they're alleging that it's trying to bring out the inference that they may have switched seats, as if my client may have a suspended license or something. He has no reason to switch seats, Your Honor. They're literally about the same size. Saying that the steering wheel is up as if somebody was taller in the front seat. Just a whole lot of things to try to make it appear that it's some fishy going on. You know, the last time he was arrested, not to even talk about that, but since that's an issue that's before the court as well, they pulled him out of a store that he was in after driving one of his rental cars and made him come back to the vehicle, patted him down for officer safety, and alleged they had a firearm off his person. Now, that's a constitutional issue that I'm going to take up with the trial court. In this situation, Your Honor, is it reasonable for an officer to believe that someone is a convicted felon in possession of a firearm when someone else is telling you it's their firearm? You know, my client never said he knew the gun was in the car. They have no testimony saying that he knew the gun was in the car. It's almost just like they're wanting to build up these inferences and stacking inference upon inference for you to say, oh yeah, he must have known. Now, also, yes, he's out on 2 bonds. Do you think my client would actually knowingly be in a car again with a firearm, knowing that he was just arrested last week?
Yes.
Understand that? Would he? Your Honor, his child's mother had just picked him up, and he asked her to come pick him up because he didn't want one of his friends to pick him up, thinking he was doing the right thing instead of hanging around with other guys. He asked her to pick him up. And I would ask if you allow her to at least brief testimony as to the facts. She hasn't even read this police report, but I'll just have a few questions that will call into question some of the officer's statements. And it's my hope that if nothing else, can you just take no action on revoking his bond, because all of these cases are triable cases. All of them all raise reasonable doubt. All of them will be a not guilty verdict. And it's just,
No.
it's the inconvenience of him constantly being detained. And every time it's about them taking cash from him, and it's a gun in the car that's someone else's gun.
Okay, you wanted to take testimony from him?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
And this is Ms. Frazier?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Ms. Frazier. Can I get you to raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Ms. Frazier, it's my understanding that you were in the vehicle last night with Mr. Moore. Is it also my understanding that the officers read you your Miranda rights and they asked you questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, what would you like to ask her?
Yes, Ms. Frazier. Were you driving a vehicle last night?
Yes, I was.
And this vehicle I'm speaking of is a gray Tesla 4-door.
Yes.
License plate AU751IR.
Correct.
Did you switch seats in this vehicle?
Sir, it was no way possible to switch seats because the Tesla, once you take your feet off the brake, the vehicle automatically stops.
Okay. Is there tint on the back window?
I don't believe that is the back window is tint on it, but it's not an illegal tint. They say that they were stopping me because of tint on the front window,
Okay.
the windshield.
The firearm inside the vehicle, is that your firearm?
Correct.
Did you let law enforcement know upon being detained that was your firearm?
I did.
Do you know if Mr. Moore knew if a firearm was in that car?
He had no knowledge of a firearm being in the vehicle at all. I had just picked him and my children up.
Yeah, I have no other questions, Your Honor. You can indulge if you would like.
Did the state have any questions for her?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Fleming, you've heard Mr. Thompson's arguments regarding letting Mr. Moore out on the cases that he's currently out on bond, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, Your Honor. State is requesting that you revoke both of the out-on bonds and stay a reasonable bond on the new law. As Your Honor's already put on record, it's the third case within the last couple of months. The last one, I believe, was like 10 days ago. I was the ASA at that IA, and Mr. Thompson did come. I believe that was a 24 CF 441 case. And the same argument was made at that point that it was somebody else's gun. In that case, the defendant was the only person in the vehicle, and the firearm was found in his pocket. However, bond was not revoked at that point. I believe Mr. Thompson had an affidavit from someone saying that it was their gun, not the defendant's gun. However, that firearm was located in his pocket. Given that this is the third incident, and Mr. Moore is a convicted felon, state is asking that you revoke. A lot of the arguments that counsel has made, state would argue, is purely speculation about these are going to be no bail, or he's going to be found not guilty, or several things along those lines. I understand the witness's testimony here today. However, probable cause from the four corners of this affidavit and everything in it has to be taken as true for probable cause. It's stated within this affidavit, which will likely be cleared up at a later time based on body cam, but the officer writes that he asked Ms. Frazier why she said there are no firearms in the vehicle. When I asked her multiple times, she did not give me an answer. I understand that is different than the testimony that we just heard. However, body cam will likely clear that up later. However, state is concerned regarding Orange County citizen safety, given that Mr. Moore is a convicted felon, I believe a 4-time convicted felon, and this is the third time that he's been either actually or constructively in possession of a firearm. So state is asking you set a reasonable bond on the new law and revoke his out-on bonds.
Your Honor, can I speak? Can I say one thing, please?
Do you want her to say
Your Honor,
anything?
briefly, I believe yes, Ms. Frazier.
Yeah, the officer asked me, did I have anything illegal in the vehicle? My firearm wasn't illegal. He didn't ask me, did I have a specific firearm? He said, do you have anything illegal in the vehicle? And I then stated that I did not have anything illegal because there was nothing illegal in the vehicle.
Your Honor, just to address the state respectfully, the first case was in June 2023. That's the case where I submitted the affidavit for the court where it was someone else's gun. That too is a rental. The last court date, Your Honor, my client was pulled out of a store, walked back to a vehicle that they claim had some type of discrepancy. That was the basis for the stop. The vehicle had a discrepancy. Walked them to the car, did not put in a report, and I actually have a video that that they went into the store. I got the video from the store just 2 days ago. They ordered him out of the store and walked him back to the car and said they wanted to pat him down for officer safety and asked him what was that in his pocket. At that time, he had a phone, he had a firearm, allegedly, right? That's the facts. That's a constitutional issue for a later date. And yes, he's out on bond for 2 of the same particular offenses. Your Honor, in this area that he frequents, he's always been detained and stopped. I'm not sure why. That's something that's going to be addressed at some point later. They even took $9,800 from my client's children's mother with no drugs were found in the car, no nothing. And they're alleging a dog sniff hit on narcotics on money. And they took her money. So all this is just a huge convenience. He's been losing money consistently over the same type of situations, but that's neither here nor there, Your Honor. I'm adamant and I'm confident that when we have an opportunity to come in court and address the case on its merits, that it's not going to fly. I understand probable cause is such a low standard, but we're asking the court to balance this a little bit and give us an opportunity to remain free so we can fight this. My client has a business to run. He has lives that depend on him, his children, and employees. Your Honor, just ask you to consider that. My client also would like to say something. I would allow him this opportunity to be heard, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. I just like to say that I don't know why they're targeting me, but it's like every other day I'm being pulled by the police, and I did everything that I can do right. I had my my kid's mom come pick me up. I had my child in my lap, and it's just like I didn't do nothing wrong because I know I'm out on bond. I didn't have my friend take me home, none of that. I closed up my business, called my girl to come pick me up, and I didn't do nothing wrong. And I didn't even know she had a firearm, in the car. It's like at this point everything is just crap.
Okay, so yeah, at this point, it won't go past this point. I gotta skip past it to get the rest. So we miss a part here, but even though we miss a part here, I'll fill it in for you. Because we miss it. I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm trying to get my life back together again. Trying to do what I'm supposed to do. I make a few mistakes, but they don't matter. They're little mistakes. And that other gun that was in my pocket wasn't mine. I was holding it. I was holding it for a friend because they weren't allowed to have it, and it wasn't mine. And I didn't do nothing wrong, Judge. I didn't do nothing wrong, and they're targeting me. Okay, now we'll finish. Okay, now we'll finish. Your audio's fine. She's thinking.
Well, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Moore, so one of the things I do want to point out, which is somewhat interesting, is that the case from June of last year, that is OPD. But I will note that the case that he was arrested on in January is OCSO. So, clearly this is a huge conspiracy against him that's gone into 2 different agencies. or he's one of the unluckiest people I've ever met in my life. Quite honestly, if you're telling me that he moves around large amounts of cash because of his job, I could see him wanting to keep a gun. The problem is, it's just under the law, he's not legally allowed to do that. Mr. Moore, Mr. Thompson used to practice in front of me for a very long time. You have an excellent attorney. And if he says he thinks that he can get you off these charges, he's probably one of the few people that maybe has a shot at doing that. But I do think that when I look at just the four corners, there's a lot of stuff in here that says that it's stacked up against you. And I think Mr. Thompson might be able to help you out, but at this time, I will go ahead and set your bond at $2,500 on the 2024 CF 650AO, but I am going to revoke your bond in the two other cases, the 2023 CF 7492AO and the 2024 CF 441AO. The good news is they're both in front of Judge Weiss, so Mr. Thompson can possibly get you a bond hearing. I just don't feel comfortable with everything that I've heard here today and letting you out on a bond. So, okay?
Thank you.
Good luck to you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for letting us be heard, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Guys, I think the judge is part of this conspiracy. I mean, she has to be, because he keeps getting locked up. And it's not fair that he keeps getting locked up. All right, now we're going to go to one other courtroom for a couple of cases in the one courtroom. And there's a few audio glitches on this, but it's not bad.
ER 1043. The defendant is present with counsel, Jim Matthews. We were last in front of you on November 27th, 2023 for a pretrial. A request for intervention in lieu of conviction was filed in this case on December 8th, 2023, and it's the state's understanding that the defendant will withdraw his previously entered plea of not guilty, including the 5-count indictment, counts 1 and 3 being aggravated possession of drugs, felonies at the 5th degree with forfeiture specifications, count 4 being falsification, a misdemeanor at the 4th degree, count 5 being resisting arrest, a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, count 6 being obstructing official business, a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree. A pre-sentence report has been completed, and the defendant has 31 days of jail time credit. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Matthews, as to the motion for intervention, you want to address that?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. We did file a motion for intervention in lieu of conviction. Mr. Reeves has been evaluated. I do believe that he meets all of the criteria to have that motion granted. I do understand the court may have some concerns with his previous criminal record. However, we do not believe that the intervention would demean the seriousness of these offenses. They are basically simple possession of drug offenses. There is no victim. We also believe that given his age and his desire to try and better himself, that were the motion to be granted and were he to be successful and not have these felonies on his record, it would make it easier for him to achieve those goals, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, why should I give you intervention? Why would I do that?
I just want to better myself and do better than what I've been doing.
Well, what's stopping you?
Myself.
Okay. So what does intervention have to do with it?
I don't know, Your Honor.
What?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
How long have you been in jail?
About 4 months.
Why don't you know the answer to that then?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
We did discuss the benefits of intervention, Your Honor. If you recall, it's that if you are granted intervention and you complete it, then these offenses would be dismissed from your record. You wouldn't have those additional felonies.
There's something funny back there? What are you laughing at?
I want to
What?
I'm autistic.
Who's Dan Fritz?
My father.
I'm talking to him. Who's Dan Fritz?
His dad.
What's Dan Fritz got to do with you?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No, sir.
Well, how much are you communicating with Dan Fritz?
That's him. My
Okay.
friend Damo.
All right. So, what does Dan Fritz have to do with you?
Nothing, Your Sir. No, nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, why are you communicating with Dan Fritz?
I'm not, Your Honor.
You're not.
No, sir.
Well, at 6:17 p.m. on January 7th, you got a communication from Dan Fritz. Call Domo. Who's Domo? What's Domo?
That's him back there, Damo. That's my friend.
He asked me to tell you to call him.
This happens once or twice. It's only for a few seconds, then it pops right back on.
I'll let you have 20 back if you promise to obey the GD code. What's the GD code?
No idea, Your Honor.
No idea. And not diss the code again. You are in violation of the rules and you know it. What's he talking about?
He's autistic, so he just,
I'm talking about Dan Fritz, that communication to you.
he's messaging off of Dan Fritz's account.
What?
He's messaging off of his dad's phone.
What's the GD code?
No
What's the
idea.
violation of the rules? You don't know?
No, sir.
No idea. Did
No,
you
sir.
write back and say, what the hell are you talking about?
No, sir.
Okay, you send back 4 minutes later to Dan Fritz. I just called Don. He ain't answered. Tell him I'll call him back at 7. And I won't violate again. Just look out on my books, nigga. What does that mean?
Put money on my books.
Okay, you won't violate again. What does that mean?
Don't know, Your Honor.
You don't know.
I was playing along
You,
with
you
you.
wrote this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you don't know.
I was just playing along with what he was saying.
Playing along with what?
I don't know how to explain it, sir. He makes up stories. He's autistic, so he makes stuff up and he wants you to play along with it.
What code?
No idea, Your Honor. I'm not involved in any gang activity.
Does this guy intend on telling me the truth at all today? Him.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you the truth.
You're lying to me, okay? In the short time we've been in here, you're lying to me.
I really have no idea, sir.
You have no idea. January 7th at 7 o'clock, 7:07 p.m. From Dan Fritz to you. I got 175, let me spend 75 on shit, and by tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I'll have 100 on there. Is Damane around or is Damo around? If you could let me know who is around. I can go to hotel, but it's hot, as you know, and I don't want to get in any beef with Brandon or KK or Ash. What's he talking about?
Brandon, KK is my ex-girlfriend. Brandon's her uncle and Ash is her aunt.
Okay, what's
They
this
also-
175, 75, 100?
He put that on my books.
I just need to find someone help me, and I'll help you. I'll throw you 125 or 150, maybe even 2, but get me the help I need. What's that? What's that all about? You don't know.
Yes, sir.
You don't know. need apple juice and toilet paper and ice cream. Get me those three things from Damo or Dan, and I got you tomorrow. Can I cash app your account real quick?
Those are drugs.
Who got your card? What's that mean?
I know.
Who got your card? What does that mean?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, he was saying something to me. Could you repeat your question?
Sure. I need apple juice and toilet paper and ice cream. Get me those three things from Damo or Dam, and I'll get you tomorrow. And can I cash app your account real quick? Who got your card? What does that mean?
Asking me who has my Cash App card?
I'll cash app you 275, keep 75, or I send Damo rest and tell him I need ice cream. What's ice cream?
I really don't know. You should text me this.
Okay. Just whatever you know, tell the judge the truth about what you know.
Listen, I'm not talking to you guys, okay? What does all that mean? You don't know.
I know he's.
I'll be back, because right now, he's on the verge of not getting this, and then getting sentenced to somewhere he don't want to be. Okay, that's where he's at. Because I don't know what the hell's going on, okay? I don't know who you're communicating with, why you're communicating with them, why you're using all this code stuff to try to hide what you're doing. But you better have a conversation with Mr. Matthews here.
Yes, sir. I really don't know what's going on right now.
I tried to bump up the audio here so we can hear it.
The judge isn't buying any.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know. The judge thinks you're full of shit. That there's some sort of code thing you then respond by saying, I won't violate it again. And then you're saying to him, I have no idea what he's talking about. And you're angering him, which is why he left the bench. So, guess what? Over here, I can't tell you. I assume I've seen her how many times a day. And it's saying, I'll give you this much money. It's only you. I had a statement on the microphone. I've never seen it in my life. I don't know. Just let me choose it. But he's dead. I have something else. The idea is that. Well, then tell him that. And tell him what the fuck is going on. This guy,
He's trying to fit in, look cool, act like he's getting trouble. He doesn't do that.
okay, then tell him. The worst thing you can do is just say, I have no idea. Because he knows that's bullshit. Just tell him what the fuck is going on. Okay? You are digging a hole by the moment by trying to get him to believe that you have no idea what he's talking about. Because that cannot be the truth. Okay? So you need to just tell him what the hell these things mean and what you believe his motivation for saying them is. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Just tell him what you know. And if the truth is that this young autistic man likes to play gangster and talk all this gangster
That's
lingo
really
and
what it is.
bullshit, then tell him that.
I
Okay?
don't know how to tell him.
Tell him exactly how you... is what I just said what is going on?
Yes.
Then tell him that. Tell him that is precisely what is going on. Because to just play dumb is clearly not working with him. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Can he show
I don't
me?
think the judge is interested in any further communication. I think he wants to address the communication that he is engaged in. All right.
No, see, he said he messed it up. I know it's not serious.
All right, well, look, if that is what the case is, then tell him what the case is. The last thing in the world you want to do with this guy is go, huh, duh, what? And then he knows you're full of shit, and it pisses him off. Okay?
Behind him is the people that he was texting. And apparently, one of the guys that he was texting is autistic. However, I think he's talking to him about drugs, not playing along with gangster talk.
There's another guy in my pocket getting the same message from me.
All right, well, is that Damo or who?
That's Donald. He's texting off the dance and he acting like something else. He's praying like it's someone else, but it's him.
All right, look. It sounds just stupid enough to be the truth, okay? So just tell him. All right.
It sounds stupid enough to be true.
Dan Fritz to you, 10:12 p.m. Busy day on January 7th. Hey, this Jason and Paul Derek got caught with ice weed. Boy, add shit. What does that mean?
My friend Damo, he's autistic. He likes to make stories up,
Okay.
and play gangster.
So we're going to come back here on, we're going to continue this hearing till
I'm telling you.
till February 21st at 11 o'clock. And you're going to, you figure out, okay,
Your Honor,
I'm talking, you're not talking. I'm done hearing from you, okay? If you want to keep talking, I'll just send you to prison today. You want to keep talking?
No, sir.
Then shut your mouth. We're coming back February 21st at 11 o'clock. And you're going to continue with your line of bull, in which case you will go to prison, or you're going to start being honest.
Okay, let's see if the next lawyer can do it any better.
Abrams, case number 23-CR001125. Defendant is present at open court today with his counsel, Mary Springer. Your Honor, we're here today for sentencing. The defendant was last before Your Honor on December 5th of 2023, where he pled guilty by way of information to one count of attempted failure to register address, a felony of the 5th degree. At that time, a pre-sentence report was ordered. The state's understanding that that has been completed and provided to the court, and that all parties are prepared to go to sentencing at this time. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Springer.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense is ready to proceed with sentencing today as well. We've had the opportunity to review the pre-sentence report, and Mr. Abrams would ask the court to sentence him to a term of community control sanctions with 23 days of jail time credit. In terms of this offense that happened here, Mr. Abrams' only other prior conviction is for the sex offense that leads to him having to register. He did successfully complete probation for that, and he does not have any other juvenile record or adult record besides traffic offenses. He has a very, very supportive family. I've spoken with both his dad and sister on several different occasions. His nephews are very, very important to him. And we talked about this in chambers, but a lot of the reason that Mr. Abrams was at the Wycliffe address related to the nephews, and he would often go there to watch them while his sister was working. And he does still have the 117th address. His grandmother is there. He has been able to reside there for most of his life. It's a stable, permanent address. When he's not incarcerated, he is always gainfully employed. He's a high school graduate. He's indicated to me that he thinks he squared everything away with his boss, and he'll be able to go back to his employment at Home Genius Exteriors. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Abrams, what do you want to tell me before I impose my sentence?
Nothing at the moment. I don't have anything to say.
So what's the problem?
Nothing's the problem with registering. I've already registered in Cuyahoga. I did.
Okay, but you were living in Wycliffe.
Not at the time. I was not.
So what's the problem then? If you didn't, so you didn't violate?
No, the
You
sheriff came up there and saw me there present,
Okay.
and he was saying that he saw me there of I don't know how many months or weeks, but he's saying that he saw me there, and he told me to register it in Cuyahoga. I've been done that. I've registered in Cuyahoga.
Then why did they charge you with this offense?
He's saying that he's seen my car there, but no
So
one.
he saw your car there and he charged you with this offense?
Yes,
That's just not true.
that's what I was saying. Even though I have 3 cars registered underneath it, so it could have been either other car.
What?
Oh, and then he talked to my father.
Do you want to withdraw your plea and have a trial?
No.
Why not? If you didn't do it.
There were some things I would say that was been said on the recording
What?
that made
Like
it
what?
seem like
Like what?
basically my father had told the officers that we've been staying there for a year,
Okay.
and we haven't been staying there for a year. My sister recently just got the apartment in, I would say, August or September, not August, October or September of 2023, and we haven't even been living there for that long.
She got it in the Wycliffe address in September of 23?
Yes,
And so you're charged with living there, what, August, right, Ms. Cutts? January to August of 23?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so how is that possible? Nobody wants to tell me the truth today. It must be contagious around here. So if she wasn't living there until September of 23, what were you doing there from January to August of 23?
22.
oh, it was 22?
Sister is present in the courtroom, Your Honor.
So she moved there in September of 22?
Correct.
Okay.
I've
And-
got the year mixed up. I
And
do
for
apologize
some
for that.
reason, your dad said that you were living there, but you weren't living there?
Yes,
So why would your dad say that?
because I've been most of my time there helping out my sister and my father.
Okay.
Because like Miss Springer said, my dad works night shift and my sister was a shift manager during that time, so her hours fluctuate.
What's with the pot smoking?
That is just for, I would just say, to calm my nerves down. I have social anxiety because I get nervous around people being in crowded places when I'm hanging out with friends. So I use that to calm my nerves down and focus. And I feel like I have a eating habit because I don't eat a lot, so it helps with that. I've stopped doing that ever since I've got incarcerated, and Ms. Springer has told
that's
me.
because they don't have it over there. That's why you stopped doing it since you were incarcerated.
Yeah,
See, I'm getting the impression that you don't take this stuff very seriously.
oh, I absolutely do. Ever since October 16th, when I first got arrested for this, I haven't smelled anything.
Well, that's not true, because didn't you test positive in December? Twice?
I did, and I haven't touched anything.
Well, but you got arrested in September. October? What did you tell me?
October
You said you
16th.
didn't touch it since then, but you did because you tested positive twice in December.
I haven't touched it ever since then, though.
I know, but you just told me you stopped using it in October. And you
Exactly.
didn't.
I have.
You have. Then how did you test positive on December 28th if you stopped using it in October?
It's probably still in my system.
Can anybody tell me the truth today? Why don't you just tell me the truth? Because it's an obvious lie. It doesn't stay in your system for 2 months, 2.5 months. Why don't you tell me the truth?
I am telling you the truth.
Okay, you're not
Your
telling
Honor.
me the truth. You're not telling. And now I got to get up and I got to leave again. But I'll be back. Jeez, man, nobody can tell me the truth.
Okay, I tried to bump up the audio again to see if we can pick it up. We'll hear some in a second.
I mean, there's people around me that smoked and probably got in my system that way. I mean, what?
You guys gotta stay. You gotta stay.
I can't remember the day. I do remember that one. I forgot about that, so I will have to tell him that. Okay.
The school got moved way before the August, but my son goes back to August 22. But the new year didn't start. The new year didn't start until August 30th. I know it's on my calendar. My son goes and moved. He wasn't there.
So, what day was that?
And I didn't live there for a whole year. I moved in there September something 2022. And they came in and said that we lived there for a whole year. It was only August, wasn't a whole year yet. Yes, I do. I have my lease, and I just renewed my lease in 2023.
In October.
In October. Yeah. No, Quentin confusing it because he's getting his numbers mixed up. I have my lease agreement on my phone right now from the time that I'm.
So when it was August, when he was talking to you, there was like a month until it would be a year. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
It's social anxiety. That's why he's telling the judge he has social anxiety. You take some nervous and talk.
Try to say it very simply for him when he gets back, okay? Just say,
Sorry, Your Honor, because I started.
just say, sorry, I'm trying to think. It's hard. Say, it wasn't a year because she moved in October and in August, and next year it would have to be a
So I moved in within a year into that because, like I said before, we have situations with our financial, and then that's when my sister got that place, right?
When he comes back, maybe I'll try to clarify a couple of things. Like he usually will see her only if he feels something's
All right. Seated. Springer?
If I may briefly, Your Honor, I think Mr. Abrams has had an opportunity to kind of think about a couple of the things that the court has addressed with him. And first and foremost, he just wanted to address the confusion about the 1 year that we're speaking about. He realized that she moved in October.
That was cleared up by his sister, so I
Okay.
understand that.
And then when Sergeant Harps came in August, it wasn't yet a year until she lived there. So it was a couple of more months until it would be 1 year. In regards to the marijuana, he did remember an incident that occurred that he would like to address with the court.
On December and on Christmas, I accidentally ate a brownie that I didn't know had THC inside of it. I just got remembered by my sister about that. It was on Christmas.
Okay, so how old are you?
23, sir.
You have to report for
15 years.
12 more years,
Yes.
okay? You have to report where you actually live,
Correct.
okay? Because you were playing games with the Wycliffe Cleveland stuff, okay? Clearly you were playing games with that, okay? So you have restrictions where you can live and where you can't live. Now, that Wycliffe address is no longer within 1,000 feet of the school, but there may be within 1,000 feet of some other prohibited place. So it's your responsibility to figure this stuff out. Okay? So, the more times this happens, this failure to report, the worse it gets. Now, what do you do at work?
Well, it's called Home Genius Exteriors. We do everything outside of the home. We replace roofs, gutters, windows, and doors like that.
Okay?
And we give out free inspections to the homeowners that would like to sign up for it.
Okay? What exactly do you do? What's your role?
I'm a field marketer. I go outside to different cities, either in South Euclid, Parma, knock on homeowners, and just tell them what we do, what we offer.
Okay? And if they have an interest in it, what do you do?
I set the appointment for them to where the point one of our expertise come out and give them more of a spiel of what we do and what size and warranty options that we
How
have.
long you been doing that?
For about 3 months now.
Okay.
I started in November.
How did you get that job?
Indeed.
Okay. How is it you're going to stop smoking pot?
Just stop smoking it. I don't know how to correctly answer that, really. Or I'll be careful of what I eat, I would say. I can try to get a mental health doctor to prescribe me into like anxiety medicine or something like that.
All right, Ms. Cutts?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this was an issue where defendant did initially register when he was supposed to. When the year came up where he was supposed to register in person, he had not registered. A warning letter was sent. He did show following the warning letter, so he was given a chance to register. When he came in to register, he was registering a different address that he had not previously changed. That address was the Wycliffe address that he was told he could not live at based on restrictions. He then registered the Cleveland address. Sergeant Harps was in the area multiple times, saw the vehicle. When he went to the residence, he spoke with the defendant's father, who indicated that he had been living there long term. when Sergeant Harp spoke with the defendant, he first denied it, then he said he was staying there short term and then a more extended term. His requirement to register comes from a 2021 conviction for importuning and possessing criminal tools, both felonies of the 5th degree. He was put on community control with sex offender counseling and obviously the Tier 1 registration. That was terminated successfully. However, there is no verification that he did the sex offender counseling. He has multiple traffic offenses, but not OVIs, not of a high level. He did violate bond at least 2 times. In this case, he tested positive for marijuana both December 5th and December 28th. He has indicated the reason for the 28th being positive, but not for the 5th. According to probation department, person who I spoke with, they don't believe that on December 5th, if he had not used since October 16th, that he would still be testing positive. So there are concerns that he has a marijuana issue that he has not addressed or is not taking full responsibility for. He has indicated that he, in the pre-sentence report, that he didn't want probation, that the offense is pointless, that he didn't do anything wrong. But this was not the first time there was a registration issue. They just did not charge him the first time, giving him the opportunity to start doing it again. When he went in to do the Wycliffe address, it was denied. I have spoken with Sergeant Harps since this incident, and he indicated that that address is still not allowed. I did not verify with him the exact reason for that, but any address that he wishes to register, the sworn office that deals with him, whether it be Cleveland or Lake County, puts the address in to determine if there's eligibility or not for that address. The defendant does have credit for 23 days due to the 2 times his bond being revoked. He got up to 23 days. He still is a Tier 1 registrant. Last I saw, he has to register up through 2036. That can change depending on incarceration times and things of that nature. If he has any of those that change the time. We are not opposed to community control at this time. We hope that he is amenable and will follow through as he did in 2021 if that counseling was completed. He does have the 23 days credit. We do feel that jail treatment program would be appropriate based on the positive marijuana screens and not taking responsibility. At a minimum, we would ask for a drug and alcohol evaluation. Would recommend a decision point program as well as a mental health evaluation to determine if any counseling would be appropriate or any other aspects, perhaps a psychiatric evaluation to determine if any mental health medications would be appropriate. Obviously that he not consume any drugs or alcohol, including no marijuana, and that his screens come back negative. That he have 1 doctor, 1 dentist, 1 pharmacy with releases to probation. That if he is prescribed any medications, he only takes them as prescribed. That he maintain full-time work and or school, pay all costs, and just be aware of the prison sentence over his head as well as post-release control. And that would be the state's recommendation at this time.
Jennifer, why was this supervision transferred to Lake County in March of 22? Do you know?
He was living in Lake County at that time.
Where at? Do you know?
The Par Lanes Apartments, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
That was the address of the initial registration, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report. I've listened to Mr. Abrams, listened to counsel, considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. I'm going to place you on community control for 2 years. You're going to serve 23 days in the jail with credit for 23. You're to have no drugs or alcohol, and you'll be screened. You're going to get a drug and alcohol evaluation and follow all the recommendations. You're going to get a mental health evaluation and follow all recommendations. Maintain full employment and pay the costs and supervision fees associated with this case. So you cannot use drugs or alcohol. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, alcohol is legal and now marijuana is legal, but you can't use either of those. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? Because that's part of your terms of probation. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, obviously, some people in this room disagree with it, because I can see faces being made, but that's my rule, okay? Because my guess is, in the long run, you're gonna be a lot better off not using marijuana than you are using marijuana, okay? Now, I don't know what this charge was in May of 21, what that was all about, okay? But you hadn't been in any trouble at any time up until then. And so you got a felony there, you got a felony here. So you better stop the felony train before it goes down the tracks, down a hill, unable to stop,
Absolutely.
okay? So, but you have to determine that you're gonna do that. You understand the terms?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, if you violate the terms, then the state will file a motion to terminate your community control, and you face potentially 12 months in prison if you violate. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, you have to take responsibility if you want to move somewhere, whether that address is outside any restrictions. Okay? One sure way to do that, if you move to Lake County again, or you want to move to Lake County again, talk to the guy that registers people, and he can find out whether you're it's within an excluded zone or not, okay? But that's up to you. You got to take responsibility for you. Because you're the one that's sitting here. So you better figure out what you can do and what you can't do, so you don't end up sitting here again. Is there anything else, Ms. Cutts?
Your Honor, since the defendant had mentioned the possibility of getting prescription medication, we're hoping to have medication to take them only as prescribed if they are, and obviously the PRC warning.
All right, I mean, you got to live your own life, okay? If you go to a doctor and the doctor says you should take whatever you take, then you better do it like that, for your own good, okay? Anything else, Ms. Springer?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, we're adjourned.
Okay, we got one more quick one. Only because this judge, all we see is his cranky side. But he has an uncranky side.
Let's try to change that.
Yeah,
We're here
everybody
for,
keep acting like I'm here for a murder. I'm here for petty charges.
I know, you got to quit getting those. We're here on
Yeah, I just
22.
got my shot though, like you said, so.
22,
I've been doing what you say.
1253, Brenda Jackson, violation of community control, final hearing.
117, you said? 2023?
No, 22, 1253. All right,
Oh.
final hearing on the charge.
I thought that was the date.
Mr. Fatika.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ms. Jackson completed her Painesville Municipal Court sentence on January 1st.
Guilty on the violation?
Oh, yes.
All right, is that what you want to do, plead guilty to the violation?
Innocent. Till proven guilty.
Well, we're here for a hearing on the probation violation. The violation is that you got arrested by Painesville
Yeah, I
Police.
heard that part.
Okay, and so that's a violation of your community control, so.
Yeah, that's fine. 2 mistakes in a whole year. I think
Right,
that's
so
fine.
Are you gonna plead guilty to that?
Innocent until proven guilty,
All
I
right.
prefer. Because I'm innocent. They even said it was received property that was
Yeah, the
taken,
public
but-
health judge says that was a violation.
Oh, okay, that's what he said. I'm explaining my theory.
Yeah.
But I just want you guys to stop harassing me. I have 2 kids. Usually when people say they have kids, they go. I have 2 kids at the house.
Your audio's fine. They just messed up their audio for a few seconds. It'll be right back.
Getting tired of babysitting. You know how that goes.
You get a chance to talk, but you have to.
Oh,
admit
plead
that
to
you-
play something?
Yeah, you have to
Please.
plead guilty to the
What do
violation.
you recommend?
Plead guilty to the violation, and then you
Okay.
can explain that to the judge.
Okay, Judge, you're right. Go ahead. You can proceed to guilty.
All right, so you want to plead guilty to it? To the violation?
I said, what's the difference between and not guilty? What would happen then?
We'll have a hearing. Ms. Kim will testify that you got arrested by Painesville PD, and if I find you got arrested by Painesville PV, then I'll
Well,
find you
have to
guilty
come
of the
back here?
violation. No one come back. We're gonna get rid of it today.
Okay, so that's the one that I would like, the one that you said we'll get rid of today.
So you want you need, if you want to plead guilty, you need to tell me you're pleading guilty.
Oh, I thought you said if I plead non-guilty, we'll
No.
get rid of it today.
Uh-uh.
Oh, so what do I have to plead to get rid of it today?
Here. Ms. Randallson, you are
Oh, I
Ms.
thought
Jackson's probation officer, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
You swear to testimony about to give us the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. And there's an allegation that she violated by being arrested for receiving stolen property in Painesville by the police. Is that your understanding?
That is correct.
All right, any questions, Mr. Patika?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I'll find you guilty of the violation. Okay, now what are we gonna do with you, Ms. Jackson?
I'm gonna try to be better each and every day. That's what I'm gonna try to do.
What,
I just got my shot, thinking of upping it. Crossroads, made an appointment. Her name's Kim Sanders. I figured out my doctor.
all right, that's a good start. When are you gonna go to her?
She said anytime, Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Since I was in here, she didn't know when I was gonna get out. She thought January 1st, but I could talk to her again over the phone when I get out. I'm very compliant with my probation lady. Like,
Yeah, from the times that I've seen you, yeah.
All right, Kim, how many days does she have in on this?
whew,
On this violation, do you know?
She has, uh, 35 days.
whew. That feels like a long time to me.
All right, so, when are you supposed to see Kim Sanders?
Kim Sanders, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I could walk in the Crossroads, but I'm gonna take the bus this time. I have to take the bus up there, so
Where do you live?
300 New Welsh.
Who
Walk
lives
up
there?
the street.
Who else lives there?
My parents and my 2 kids.
All right, now, Kim says you're good on probation when you come and see her. You gotta come and see her when you're supposed to see her.
Okay, I will.
And you gotta see,
Kim
gotta-
Sanders.
yeah,
Okay, I'll see
Okay.
Kim Sanders first, then I'll go to probation after the doctor's appointment, so I could, fill out a release for information, so Kim could get up-to-date news on my doctor's appointment, like the probation, needs. She told me to bring my, the spelling of my medicine the last time, so I gotta do that. But that's it. After that,
you threw me off a little bit today.
uh,
I never heard you talk so much.
I know I'm usually quiet.
And all
I'm
the times
usually
you've been
quiet.
here.
Yeah, I'm very quiet.
All right, I'm gonna keep you on community control. You have to do the same things I told you to do back in August.
Okay, sounds good.
And
Thank
then
you.
And then in November, okay? So, stay with Sanders.
Okay,
Keep going there, keep getting your medication,
got it,
keep showing up at probation,
got it,
and don't get in no trouble.
got it.
All right, anything else, Mr. Patika?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay,
Get up now?
yeah, you're good. You can go,
Okay.
you can go with,
So I'm getting
these
released
two
today?
fine officers.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
but you gotta go see Kim as soon as you
I
walk
will.
out.
I'm gonna make it,
Well, you gotta go see Kim today first.
Oh, okay.
Soon as- All
Their
right?
both name is Kim, so I'll remember that.
Okay, but yeah, as soon as you're released, come up and see me, okay? And
Like
then-
last time I did.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
See, he's not always cranky. He was sweet there, pleasant. He giggled. He smiled. Oh, oh my. Okay, that's enough lying for today that we can handle. We got to get people to tell the truth when they're on the bench. That'll never happen. Never. When they're on the bench, when they're in front of the bench. That'll never happen. Guys, thank you so much for coming out today. I hope you guys have a really good weekend, and I will talk to you next time.